You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Good morning, Sudbury. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I am AJ Walsh. Glad to be with you here today. And thanks for joining us if you're listening to us on CKLU 96.7 on the radio. If you are listening online at cklu.ca, or if you've downloaded the Radio Player Canada app, you can listen to us anytime, anywhere on your favorite device. Also, you could be joining us on YouTube Live. Recently, we just started streaming there live each and every morning between 7:30 and 8:30. And if you are a regular viewer of this show, you've been watching us on Facebook Live since our inception not too long ago. I think it's about 2 months now we've been at this. So thanks for joining us. And I know there's a lot of you who do join us each and every morning. Good morning. And if it's your birthday, happy birthday to all you people. And I'd like to extend a special good morning to all the Facebook and now YouTube monitors that are out there. I hope you're having a really great day as well. And I hope you can enjoy the show, even though you're probably not from Sudbury. But at the same time, maybe we can be a little bit entertaining for you while you're enjoying your morning coffee, if it is indeed morning as you're watching this. Speaking of morning, good morning, Zach. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm not great.
I'm glad you said
just
that.
In a bad mood.
I'm glad you said that because I thought you were just going to say, "Oh, I'm doing good," and
no.
we're just having a conversation.
Why ask if you don't want to know?
I know off air that sometimes
things seem to be all backwards.
Yeah, sometimes we have good days and sometimes not so good days. And Zach, you've divulged that today is not one of those good days. So
you ever have a bad day?
Yeah,
and then you realize. It might be that you've just had a bad month, but you didn't realize.
Yeah, some of us...
It's like that. It's like when you're in a bad mood, it never seems like it will get better. I'm sure it will.
Yeah. Some of us would even say maybe we've been having a bad life. Yeah.
Yeah. So far.
It could get to that point, right?
So far. Yeah.
But you know what? That's why you get together with someone else who's in the same boat.
Sometimes it helps.
It feels just, it helps us feel good. Oh, you're just as bad. Oh, I'm glad. Because it makes me feel better now. It's unfortunate.
And then I look at the news and it says, gas, $2.13. I'm like, oh, well, at least there's some good news there.
At least the gas came down from $2.20.
I can spend every dollar that I make on gas.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Great.
There's so much good news out there to be grateful for, right?
Yeah, not a great start, but...
Yeah. Well, you know what? There is some good news, and some not so good news. But we're going to hopefully be having a good discussion about the good, the bad, and the ugly right after our weather for the day. There's a warning, so let's talk about that. And as said earlier, just now actually, and I don't know why my screen is exactly black on here. So, anyways, if you could see my screen, which you should be able to, I bet you can. Give me a second here. I bet you I can arrange this. It's just going to take a little bit of techno maneuvering here. But if not, we're still going to give the weather. It is, here we go. Look at that. Bingo. Weather warning, like a heat warning. Environment Canada says it's going to be hot, and they're warning us. But currently it's 14 degrees and mist. Did you find any mist, Zach, on the way? No. Wondering where they get these things from. But anyways, there's mist somewhere. There's 100% humidity, which is going to be a killer today. Clearing today and mainly cloudy. Clearing this morning. Wind will be southwest. And high of 31. Wow. Humidex, look at this. 37.
So it's going to feel like 37.
Going to feel like 37 degrees.
On the other story, I saw the UV index was 10. So.
Right here?
That was on...
9 are very high.
On the weather update
Oh, okay. Well,
Sudbury.com.
9 or 10 is, I think, pretty much around
Pretty
the
much
same.
the top.
If you're 9 UV index, I think 10 is pretty darn close. So either way, it's going to be a scorcher today. There is a warning, a heat warning. You're going to need to stay cool, whatever you need to do. And then tonight, partly cloudy, 30% chance of showers. And showers, really? Okay. This evening with a risk of thunderstorm. Wow. And if it's going to be a thunderstorm, it could be a doozy after a very hot day like that. That's when you really find some really doozy thunderstorms. Anyways, and then the low will only be 19 degrees tonight.
It's not bad.
A hot evening, though. Think of it. Try to sleep at when usually the temperature is about 19, 20 during the day. You know what I mean? Like that's usually a
it
hot
could be a
summer
hot
day.
night. Yeah.
And if it's humid, on top of that, if it's 19, oh my goodness. So anyways, yeah, so tomorrow sunny. Even though tonight there's a chance of a thunderstorm, tomorrow is forecast to be sunny, high of 30. Thursday, sunny, high of 29. And then they're forecasting some showers. Chance of showers, but only 30% for Friday. And much of the same heat. Anyways, you got your 28, 29 going forward. And we'll be back right after this scorching hot extra. Now, you said, Zach, that was one of your favorite. You're getting used to that little song there, that little soundbite.
Did I say that?
He said that yesterday.
Okay.
He said that, oh, yeah, I like that little soundbite there, that weather one.
Yeah, it's cool.
But you're not in a good mood today, so
No,
you're probably
everything's
not.
annoying, so.
You're like that. I hate that today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the
It's
news
okay.
stories kind of
It's fine.
reflect my mood.
Oh.
It's almost like they're reinforcing.
Oh, no.
Did you notice that when you were looking through?
Yeah, well, they're
Like it's
kind
the
of.
10-year anniversary
Yes.
of the mall in Elliott Lake collapsing.
Yeah, and I was surprised that 10 years has gone by that fast. Do you remember that? Because you were like, what? How old? 9 years old?
No, 10 years ago, I was an adult.
Just barely.
Yeah. I remember it. Yeah.
Yeah. You were.
I remember it was like,
You were a new adult.
I was like, where is that?
Yeah. Where is Elliott Lake?
Yeah.
Is that honestly what you said?
Yeah.
Really? Okay, because
I
you were
didn't
new
grow
to
up here, so.
you were new to Sudbury at the time, right?
Semi-new, yeah. It's
And-
not like there was a high school to play sports against there or something,
No.
you know? So I didn't know where it was. I knew where North Bay was.
Yep. Oh, and Miles says the weather today, anyways, is fitting because it is the first day of summer, which I was going to say at some point,
That's
and I
right.
might have not
That's
said
it.
it. So
I
I'm
don't
glad,
think you said it.
glad that he
Happy
did that.
summer, everyone. It feels like it's been summer for
Yeah.
a month, but here we are.
Yes. Good morning, Sudbury.
Yeah, a lot of negative in the news today. There was one story I'm especially excited about, but that's because it's about something I like.
Okay. Okay. Real estate?
Yeah.
How did I guess?
I don't know, it just seems to be that's my thing I like talking about, right?
Well, you are a real estate agent, so I would hope that you like talking about it.
Yeah, I guess
Goes with the territory.
first and foremost, there was I got a lot of engagement on a story yesterday about a new president for the University of Sudbury.
Yes.
Like they want to bring about a big change. Maybe it's just because I'm in a bad mood, but it doesn't seem.
It doesn't
I
seem
think
like
it's
there's
really
gonna
going to
be
make a
change.
difference. But
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, we love those kind of stories.
then there was that story that you talked to me about yesterday, and someone actually outside of the show talked to me about yesterday. This woman in the South End,
Yeah.
basically being the victim of a hit and run.
Mm, crazy.
Not exactly.
Not exactly.
I don't think
run?
hit and run fully encapsulates it.
Okay. Well,
It's more of a grand theft auto.
with a hit and run, no? I thought it was everything all in one.
Yeah.
Like a
Yeah, like an all-in-one. Yeah, you're right. That's why I'm saying it doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily fit into one category.
No, it wasn't just a hit and run. They took her car too.
Exactly. A
Yeah.
grand theft auto
Yeah.
and hit and run, maybe in
Yes,
one.
someone's trying to take that game a little bit too literally.
Well, that's why they named the game that. Because
Yeah, I
that's
know.
what the crime is called.
I know.
There was this really interesting story about how money laundering is a problem. I don't like.
That's the real estate one.
It's a feel-good story to me because
Yeah.
Sudbury is not like that.
So the story is they feel that that real estate could be a way to launder money through, and
Not could be, it is.
it is. Okay.
And there are very specific
Oh, my
gateways
goodness.
through
Okay.
which someone can do that.
So are they telling people what to do if they don't already
Basically,
know?
yeah.
They're like, hey, if you didn't think
Well, no.
you could launder money, this is one way you can.
Not exactly,
Okay.
not exactly, but they are pointing to the most likely,
Yeah.
ways that it would happen, and then we'll be able to.
So if
point
you
them
need,
out.
this is the thing, if you need to launder money, you're going to have to pay attention to that segment because they're going to tell you a way that you can do it. Correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably easier ways. I'll be honest.
Oh, okay. Maybe we can talk about some of those too. Maybe someone has some
Yeah.
ideas
Like
if you're in the market
we
for
can
laundering.
explain money laundering for anyone that doesn't know already
That's
what
true.
it is.
Yeah.
And
It's not doing laundry with your money.
not necessarily physically
No.
washing the money. It's
It's
washing
legally,
it metaphorically.
Yeah, legally, illegally washing it. So, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Illegal to legal, kind of the idea, to make
There's-
it look legal.
There was an update.
Yeah,
last
Ozark
night.
for sure. Yeah, exactly. Ozark, that's what it's all about.
Oh, that's right. I haven't watched
Yeah.
that. That's about the cartels, right?
It is, yeah, the Mexican cartel.
Big customers for money laundering. We don't have a cartel here.
How do you know?
Well, if we do, it's not called a cartel.
Well, the thing is, if you were involved with it, you would know. But if you weren't involved with it, you shouldn't know that it's there.
What's the
That's
point of
whole
having
idea.
a cartel if people don't know about it?
Well, the people that deal with them know about it, but
That's like saying, if nobody knew about the mafia, what would be the point of it?
well, is there mafia in Sudbury?
Yeah,
Do you know anyone who belongs to the mafia in Sudbury?
I could find out. I'm not
That's the
really
thing.
interested in it.
But that's what I mean. I think
The specific people, it's
I
not
think-
important, but the organization is.
I think
you
they're-
need to know it exists.
I think there is elements, possibly people who deal like with the cartel. Like the cartel has like a degree of separation, which would then involve because if
Yeah,
they're
that's true.
dealing with those types of things, their tentacles go out quite far.
I think people overestimate how smart criminals are. They're really not
They
that
do.
smart.
Oh, I don't know. I think some could be.
Like, they wouldn't be criminals if they were really smart, right?
Well, I don't know.
It's kind of a young man's game, and most
yeah.
young men are pretty dumb.
Some would argue that some of our professionals out there are kind of possibly,
yeah,
you know.
I mean, there's a colloquial definition of criminal, and
Or
then there's the actual
politicians.
definition of criminal.
yeah, they might say
Like, a
politicians,
lot of our politicians
are criminal as
Are
well.
probably like
They involve themselves.
contractually they're not breaking the law, or like
Yeah.
legally they're not breaking the law, but
Yeah.
morally they're abhorrent.
Exactly.
But that's not necessarily criminal, right?
Yeah.
There was a story about how there's no monkeypox cases in Sudbury yet, but this might be the first time people are hearing about maybe the symptoms of monkeypox. Maybe they've heard about it but want to know more about
You know,
it.
we've never talked about it on the show, and I did share that
Might be
story
worth
on our
talking about.
Facebook page. I reluctantly go and share the stories about
Yeah.
those types of things. I don't want to fear monger at all, but I thought, it's probably a good idea to at least talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, preliminarily, there's 168 cases in the country,
Mm-hmm.
and almost all of them are in Quebec. So that is
Yeah.
our neighbor.
Do you have? I don't know if it's Reba Twain or it's Twain Reba. I think it would be Reba. But anyways, says, have we seen the Sudbury WikiLeaks?
Never heard of it.
I never heard of it.
I'm going to look it up.
And you just heard of the Sudbury Politics Facebook page today, and you were interested
Well,
in
again,
that.
it's kind of like the cartel.
You know?
It's like it might exist. I've just never sought
Yeah.
it out. So the Sudbury Politics Facebook page, I've never sought that out. I've
No.
never really been interested in that.
Yeah. But it's cool because then that's a platform for people to have a discussion primarily about politics and primarily about Sudbury politics. But one Sudbury centric Facebook page I did come across the other day, and I'm going to use it on the show, is Sudbury Memes. And
Yeah,
there's some funny.
Sudbury Memes is great.
There's some funny memes about Sudbury on that, for sure.
Yeah, I'm on WikiLeaks Sudbury now. I don't know too much about this.
Okay, well, let's look into
This
that.
seems like a pretty. This would be fly by night if we were to just immediately talk about this stuff.
Mind blowing, and I would probably agree. So
Just
let's-
because it's mind blowing doesn't mean it's true.
Okay,
I'll say
well,
that.
but it's good for us because then we can discuss it, and discussion is good. 'Cause
I remember the
sometimes
former
get to the
mayor
bottom of it.
had some scandals near the end of his tenure about a slush fund that was larger than most people's salaries.
Do you mean the former mayor had one?
Yeah, before made bigger. So
okay, That would be
I mean,
Matichuk, no? Wasn't it Mayor Matichuk?
directly before?
I thought
But
so.
she was only mayor for like a year.
And then Rodriguez was before that.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I'm talking
So
about.
he had a slush fund?
It was quite large, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I remember that was like kind of a
know.
scandal at the time.
Oh.
Speaking of Elliott Lake mall collapsing, that was about the same time.
Yeah, well, that's true.
But there's also this Val Karen incident that you seem to want to talk about.
What do you mean I want to talk about?
Well, you just said
it's in the news.
It's big news.
And you feel like in a kind of negative mood today.
I am
so
in a
maybe
negative mood.
that goes along with it.
Maybe this would be good. So the man barricaded
Himself?
for 7 hours.
Okay.
I remember you didn't like that term, so I
the
thought I would
barricaded. Yeah, the
point
one
that
in the
out.
flour mill. There was
This
one
is a
in the
different incident?
different
Right, right.
barricadation. But the one in the flour mill said they barricaded himself in his house, and I was like, "Oh, how do you define barricading yourself in your house?"
Anybody that closes the door would be barricading
You could
themselves.
fall into that definition just by being in your house. Are you barricading yourself, or are you binging Netflix? You know what I mean? Like, or what's going on here? How do we know the difference? But anyways, in this particular incident, I think there's more evidence to the fact that
There is.
there's been a reason for him to barricade himself. And
So the gist of it is a man brandishing a machete
Oh.
threatened to shoot both community members and police.
with his machete,
Nope. I don't think so.
so he had a machete and he was
He was brandishing
Stop or
a
I'll
machete,
shoot.
damaging property, and then he threatened to shoot
okay.
police officers and community members. They responded at 7 p.m. Officers on Fleming Street weapons complaint.
Okay.
And it
So-
kind of came because he was threatening people and brandishing a machete, causing damage.
So he was just wielding a machete in the street and threatening people.
A 30-year-old man, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But
Sounds scary.
people in the area were told to shelter in place. Police kind of quarantined the area.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's when the barricade started.
Wow. So
He
he
became increasingly aggressive and hostile. He was threatening to shoot people. And major crime detectives with the Criminal Investigation Division secured a warrant to enter the dwelling. So at 2 a.m., they went in, got him into custody. No incident. They did take 2 firearms from the residence.
did have firearms too, on top of that.
And they charged him
Kinda
with possession of a weapon for dangerous purpose, uttering threats to cause bodily harm or death, 2 counts, failure to comply with a release order, and mischief under $5,000.
Wow.
That was for the property damage.
Well, I hope so. No one was hurt.
No, it was de-escalated.
Good.
Good on the police for de-escalating.
Yeah. And again, our comments here, mental health, I would think, would play into this. So you would think that that's what's going on because someone doesn't normally act in this manner. We don't know why,
Yeah.
but mental
Totally.
health, they're saying, isn't really being addressed. And we've talked about that quite a bit on the show,
Yeah, I think
for sure.
if it's not already, things like this, like incidents of obviously like mental health failures,
Yeah.
will become less and less looked down upon, like less stigmatized
Mm-hmm.
over time.
But at least we're talking about that now when we're talking about this. Because before we'd go, a show like this, we would laugh and go, that guy's crazy, and just laugh or whatever, right? Because
Maybe
who's
he
going
had a
around
bad week.
wielding a machete? Well, you can understand that possibly, right?
I don't know about the machete part, but,
But really, no, think of it.
when I have a bad
Now at
week, I
least-
lock myself, in my house.
Yeah,
But not barricaded.
No, you could be, though.
But I don't
could
wave a
barricade
machete
yourself.
around. Yeah.
But that's true. At least we're talking about, at least now when we look at the story, we go, okay, well,
Maybe there's a mental health thing.
because really, which one of us don't have a breaking point to some degree? We all talk about triggers, right? And, you know my buttons and you push my buttons. And we've all been in places where something has taken us to a point of like, then you kind of act out and you go, well, I shouldn't have did that. You think, oh, okay, I yelled or whatever you did. Maybe it wasn't branding a machete, but you possibly could have kind of lost it. So we all have those breaking points and things. And so I think it's good to at least have that in the discussion to find out maybe what we can do to get to the bottom of these kinds of things. And I think it's all part of the discussion.
Yeah, I think it's important to have a spine too. Like, you don't want to go too far the other direction,
Yeah.
where you're just a complete pushover.
Yep.
I remember our next door neighbors when we used to live in slightly less desirable area.
Yeah.
Our neighbors would fight like in the middle of the night sometimes
Sure,
and just
yeah, for
scream
sure.
and yell. And
Definitely.
especially in the summer because the windows were open, you could
Yeah.
just hear them
You hear them
yelling at
more.
each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, yeah, you don't want to go that far where you're like screaming and yelling at each other, but you also, neither one of you in a relationship should be a pushover
True.
and just letting the other person walk all over you. I've
Definitely.
been guilty of that in
Yeah.
previous relationships.
Of letting people walk all
Just,
over you?
I was just too nice maybe.
Mhm.
Well, maybe too nice is wrong. I wasn't being nice. I was refusing to stand up for myself
Yeah.
in the name of avoiding conflict, but it was really a selfish thing. 'Cause sometimes people need to be told, what's what.
Yeah, no, it's true. Being assertive.
Assertive. Yeah,
You need
there's
to
nothing
be
wrong with telling people how you feel.
An assertive communicator and and be able to communicate and have barriers and boundaries. Now, the comment here is also addiction along with mental health, which is true too, because let's say you didn't get sleep one night, you could be a little more irritable than you normally would be, and those buttons that normally wouldn't be pushed could get pushed because of that.
Exactly.
Now, imagine putting a substance that in your body that
that pushes you over the edge, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of incidents are mixed with substance. And I saw a comment in that says the Donovan, and that's where it was. So,
yeah.
off Kathleen.
Well, I wouldn't. I don't
I
think
have nothing against the area. It's just, that's an
Yeah.
objective truth.
And I don't think
when
anyone,
you live there.
anyone watching or listening would argue with you or be surprised that it was in that area of the
No,
city.
and
We know.
occasionally, you'd be in the area and you'd hear police sirens, and then,
Yeah.
like, there was not too long ago, like 200 meters away from where we lived, there was an incident of a fugitive being in like a.
Oh wow.
We covered it on the show.
Yes.
Somebody like basically being in a hunker down situation in their apartment with the police.
Yes.
And stuff. Like, it was. Anyways, it's just gonna happen when you live.
Well, that's the
that
one we were
area,
talking about with
so.
the barricading, right?
No, it was
Different one?
further back than that.
Oh,
We've
okay.
been doing the show long enough now that there are multiple stories, so I can hide behind
That's true.
that. But
yes.
it was I mean, as far as proximity to amenities, proximity to workplace,
Mm-hmm.
downtown, it's a great place to live. I'm glad that there's a heavy police presence there, though, because it means that a lot of
Definitely, yeah.
things get cleaned up instantly. So
For sure.
let's talk about this University of Sudbury.
Let's talk about that, and then we'll be right back. Okay, University of Sudbury. I was surprised at this one.
What were you surprised by?
That right after the bankruptcy and whatever, it almost seems like this could have been a plan beforehand. Part of when it goes bankrupt now, we can do this with this university. Kind of conspiratorial mind of mine thought. But anyways, like, oh, good, there's good news now. We can go forward with this particular plan while we're still kind of in the mire of the bankruptcy and like licking wounds and stuff. I thought it's a little bit too early to be celebratory, looking at all the good things that can come out of a bad thing. That was just my own
It was a little
take on it.
early,
Little
to
early.
think positive.
or whatever. Yeah,
Sure. Yeah, I mean,
just my own.
University of Sudbury is very old.
Yeah.
So it was founded under the name Collège Sacré-Cœur
Oh, it was
in
originally French.
1913.
Okay,
1913.
that's a long time ago.
And it changed its
That's-
name to University of Sudbury in 1957. So
Wow.
it's been quite a long time. Joined the Laurentian Federation in 1960.
Yep.
And then the Federation fell apart in 21. So
Hmm.
it's been has a long history.
Very long history. 1913.
I didn't realize it was that old.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was more of a like 80s maybe.
That's
But
before
it's
I was
100
born.
years old.
Yeah,
Even before you were born.
even before I was born, which is hard to.
Yeah, so to me, University of Sudbury, like I went to Laurentian, you went to Laurentian.
Yep.
We're both familiar with the University of Sudbury.
We are.
I, in my capacities, volunteer capacities, work capacities, I went to the building a couple of times.
Yes, you did.
I never really understood the purpose of it, though.
The purpose of a university?
I never understood the purpose of having like
Like
a
separate,
small little university
Within a university.
right next to a large university.
because they were like a conglomerate of universities that made up Laurentian.
But it's a degree granting entity.
No, for sure, I understand. Its own.
So that's what I didn't really understand.
Because I think what happened back in the day, you would have different religious sects have their own universities. Like the Catholics would have one. The Huntington, I think, is an example of one that's a Protestant. I forget which denomination.
Okay. So that's how it
United
started.
Church or something like that would have one. Yeah, I think different churches had their own universities.
And then there would be like the main one.
Then and then Laurentian was its own too. But then eventually Laurentian became an umbrella and took them all in. And
Sure.
Then just spewed them all out of its mouth when they went bankrupt, kind of thing.
Because when I talk to people about Sudbury that aren't familiar with the area, and I mention Laurentian, they don't know about University of Sudbury. Like that's not something they've ever heard of.
No.
Or are interested in.
No, because it's all Laurentian University.
It's all
to
really
people.
the same.
That's it, exactly. So
So-
what's going on? So now it's going to be being totally francophone. Is that what I'm hearing? Is this the whole?
Yeah, so let
University
me
of
read a
Sudbury?
little bit.
Yeah,
So the Vice Chancellor and University of Sudbury President Serge Miville said that we're on the cusp of an important shift, especially for the French language. We're going to position ourselves in an interesting way, take stock of what's needed to do things properly. So it sounds like they really want this to be a real deal. They've done a great deal of homework. Afterwards, it's going to put us in a much better position. Then
For
we'll
sure.
be able to make decisions based on facts.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always better than shooting in the dark. So a lot of fluff so far. Hopefully he says something.
A lot of fluff.
I mean, really, like, do you want me to read that again, or did you take anything away from that?
It's like a PR kind of statement.
It's like someone says,
Yeah.
what are your plans to get an A in this class? And you say, hard work and determination has always
Yes.
been the foundation of good grades. And,
That's right.
And teaming up with classmates has always been a good bet in group projects.
Nothing
and
specific.
moving forward, we'll
Nothing
attempt
new.
to collaborate with other useful members of our. It's like,
Yeah.
okay,
Come on.
but what's the substance here?
That's right. Give us some specifics and some.
Miville says this is a chance to bring a new policy of active listening in their consultation process.
How's that? How is that? Then so.
I don't know. Again,
How?
is that a plan?
Give me an example.
He says have you heard of the PCAB before?
No.
PCAB, Post-Secondary Education Quality Assessment Board.
Okay. Never
So
heard.
this
of
is
it.
an agency of the government of Ontario.
Wow.
Makes recommendations to the Minister of College and Universities on applications for schools wishing to offer whole or part degree programs and designate themselves as a university.
So this would be
So
the
they're gunning-
entity you need to get their approval and go through in
Exactly.
order to have your own credential offering
Yeah, so
university.
they've made a request.
Yeah.
They will make a request to this entity after they create a business plan.
Okay.
And now,
Hey, they can hire some
know.
consultants.
but they probably already have.
Yeah, this is great.
But this is a university. I am suspicious because why, other than what you just mentioned,
Consultants?
a lack of transparency,
Yeah.
an opaque process, why would you want so many different universities, administrators?
Like
Why would you not?
top
Yeah,
heavy
it's very
administration, like a head of this, an assistant head of that, an assistant to the assistant, and then have a bunch of boards and a bunch of,
like
top.
let's be honest.
That's what the Laurentian's downfall was. Too
Like,
much
let's be honest.
administration.
Having
and cost.
two universities within walking distance
Yeah.
with completely separate leadership and all this stuff.
Maybe it's
It's
not
not
the
a
model.
formula for good financial responsibility.
Maybe we should have learned our lesson.
Seems like they're going the other way. But yeah, they did receive $1.9 million recently. We did a story about
Why
that.
not? Exactly.
So maybe they'll be able to spend that wisely.
That's right.
But I don't know. Not a whole lot of substance. Hopefully the president and vice chancellor Miville is able to bring it together and
Yeah.
do something cool.
Well,
Seems like University of Sudbury historically has been, yes, it's francophone, but they offer a very limited course offering, which is usually in like media studies, journalism, stuff
but
like
oddly
that.
enough, you would think we are a French community, but very little people actually pursue the education
French
and,
education.
and services in general in French. Although, in order to work for the city and be in the front lines, you have to speak French.
They do like that. Yeah.
And in order to offer services in any government or any educational thing or whatever, you have to speak French. But I work in a facility that offers, it is mainly French, and
Yep.
even French people come in and say, I'd rather have my services in English.
They
And
say that.
But yet all the funding comes from the French side because that's where the funding comes from. And they have to get the numbers and whatever. And so they almost...
So is that why?
Yeah, it's all. It is a very political thing. It's a huge political thing, and we don't really talk
doubt.
about it very much because it is a touchy subject in a lot of ways. And I don't know if people are mature enough to have that conversation. I'm definitely okay to come to the plate and have it, but yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get my education in journalism, so I don't feel one way or the other about it.
Like, I know that there's been a push to get a francophone university itself, like in Northern
Why,
Ontario,
though?
its own, because they want to have their own university, just like they have their own college, Collège Boreal.
What do you mean
Used-
they? They
Well-
live in the same places.
Yeah, francophone. the people that are part of the movement that want it. I'm not francophone, and I'm not part of that. So it's like if I say my in-laws are coming over, I'd say they're coming over. Because
I
they're
see.
not me.
Right.
You know,
Because
I'm not like
you're
those
not
people.
francophone. Yeah, you
I'm
won't
not
speak
like
for them. I
Yeah,
see.
and it's
I
not
see.
racist to say they because
No, I'm just...
aren't we supposed
They're
to even
not-
say they nowadays instead of he or she or whatever? You know, it's trying to be
No, I
politically
know.
correct.
I understand.
You know what I mean, though. So there is a movement to
Yeah.
have a francophone standalone university, just like there was to have Boreal, where it used to be Cambrian offered education in both official languages, and they had that, but there was a feeling,
And they changed that
wait a
over?
minute here, we want our own. Although there's a good chunk of people who work for Cambrian still who are francophone. They are bilingual. So
Oh,
it
are
doesn't mean, but you can't work at Boreal and be only Anglophone.
No.
So this
not
is
gonna
an
work.
odd kind of thing, and there are issues that could be talked about, but it's not an easy conversation because
Sure.
some people could feel offended when we have conversations like that.
I don't know. I'm like when I see signs or job postings or things that say like francophone only, like I don't consider myself. I'm not a francophone in the way that they're saying, but I do speak French, but I don't fit in that category.
Yeah, you're not
So to me, it's
raised
I understand what
in
you're
the
saying.
culture and part of that.
But what
even though
culture? Like
Yeah.
I fail to see what.
there's a French culture.
Yeah, that's
I would think
is there,
when I moved from Sault Ste. Marie,
or is it just the same our culture? Like
no, there is a culture. I moved from Sault Ste. Marie to Sudbury, and it was mainly Italian, and the Sioux was the kind of, you're Canadian, but
like why don't we have an Italian university?
correct, right?
Like,
Because
I
it's
don't-
not a bilingual country where Italian is the other official
Who cares
language.
about the country? It's like
Yeah.
it's the people in the country that matter, not the country,
Correct.
as it were.
And now that we're becoming extremely multicultural, there are going to be those discussions of why don't we have a Sikh university, like we talked about yesterday, the first Sikh temple. Sikh, Sikh.
Sikh, yeah.
Could be pronounced both ways depending on,
That's going to come. Like if that's in demand, why not?
yeah,
Why
kind of
not?
thing. So again, it's
Or,
a conversation, and we're not afraid to have it here. But someone is talking about bears. And so are we going to talk about bears today, or did we say we're not going to?
Yeah, we can transition to that story. Yeah.
Okay, let's do that, because they're talking about bears in their garbage. They said, when are you going to talk about that? So we'll be right back. Cool.
Is this like something people like think about often?
People in this area think about bears because
Why,
there's
though?
bears
Yeah,
around.
there are bears.
They
but
come in your
Do
yard.
they affect your everyday life?
They could. Like, think about it. You're in the bathroom brushing your teeth. You look out the window and you see a bear. Do you just go, oh, yeah,
I do.
there's a bear. Who cares? No, you
I-
think, wait a minute, I got to get out to my car in a minute to go to work and there's a bear in my yard. You don't just think, oh, I'll just pass the bear and
Basically
go in my
the
car.
same way like raccoons don't affect my life.
Really?
Yeah.
You look at bears the same as raccoons?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, okay.
Somebody's gonna think I'm crazy. Maybe because
Well-
I'm a giant. I don't know.
Yeah, you're like Samson
Yeah.
or like
that
David
was with the lions, though.
or David. Yeah.
I don't know. I just every year this comes up and people are whatever. They're afraid. They're called the public health or what are they? Animal control.
Yeah.
I don't really get it.
The MNR, the big long name now, the Ministry of this, that, and the other,
There's one with a
Ministry of
super
Natural
long name.
Resources, and everything
It's
else.
going to be happening like every year, so I just don't see
Yeah.
why it's
Why it's topical every year it comes up? I think it's like potholes.
like. Are people wondering like what they have to do when?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Are bears changing? Like
Yeah,
you're saying,
there's no big real story.
Are the facts
it's like
you're
dog
getting-
bites man. It's
That's
like,
right,
you know,
yeah.
that's the way I see it.
do we got to keep relaying the facts about what to do? Don't put your garbage out the night before. Don't put anything with food. Don't leave your barbecue out that might attract bears. These kind of tips.
It's like that
and
famous adage. It's like you don't put dog bites man in the newspaper. Like you put man bites dog. So if it's like a weird,
goodness. Oh,
out
that's
of the
what you were
ordinary
saying.
thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought that was more common knowledge. So maybe that's not. But when I see like a story about like a bear eating garbage, it's like, yeah, that's what they do.
They eat garbage. Yeah, they're in the garbage.
I lived in the bush
Yes.
and I saw bears all the time.
Yeah.
And it was the first few times it was like,
A bear.
this is interesting.
Yeah.
Eventually it becomes like, there's a pine tree.
Oh, okay.
So that's
Normalized. You see bears too often, so.
maybe I'm desensitized.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and they're mentioning that the fact that now we can't put our garbage out every week. We have to wait 2 weeks.
Yeah, it seems like an oversight.
So do you keep
I'll
your
say
garbage
that.
inside your house to start fermenting and smelling before you put it out in some kind of a bin before you can actually put it at the road?
Somebody made a mistake there. Yeah. How about recycling every 2 weeks?
And then garbage every week.
Yeah.
Hey, that's even better.
Did anybody think about that?
That's a better idea.
Because we
Switch it
get to
around.
put out the same amount of garbage as before.
That's right.
But
Just
they did it in the name of reducing, right?
the
Reducing
labor
costs, or-
to pick it up. Exactly.
is anybody against?
Let's vote right now.
Let's vote
everyone,
right
everyone
now.
in the chat, if you're with just recycling every
Has
2
anybody
weeks,
ever
garbage
said,
every week.
shoot, we missed recycling day?
I don't know. Not too many. Well,
This is not a big
depends.
If it was every 2 weeks, you might be sad.
Yeah.
But garbage day is the one.
And give everyone another blue box or two. That way they can store it.
For sure.
And you can store your blue box stuff inside. It doesn't smell.
All right, I changed my mind.
Garbage
I'm
does
running
smell.
for office.
You are running for mayor. Good. I'm
That's the
glad.
thing. No, I'm just
I knew
kidding.
there'd be a way to get you.
All right. Bob Johnston.
Bob Johnston.
Dutrisac.
Yep, coming up right after this.
No, I'm just saying they should put this in their platform.
they're going to put it in the platform.
This is the stuff we're looking for, okay?
Yes. But
But,
what's the story about bears? Just that bears are after our garbage? Is that what the story is?
I mean, there was a story just this last week about a couple of cubs in Coniston.
Okay. Couple cubs in Coniston.
Like, yeah,
Headline.
that's great. Good for Coniston, you know.
Okay, we'll be back right
cool.
after this. All right. We're back.
I didn't know if we were done with that.
Yeah, we're done with the bear.
Okay, all right.
There's going to be more bears.
Sorry,
We'll talk
bear
about
people.
more
If they
bears.
come up again, we'll
Yeah.
talk about them again.
We're going to talk
It's
about.
almost blueberry season.
Hey, there you go.
That is
Bears are gonna
probably
be in
something,
town again.
you know. Blueberry picker comes face to face
Yeah.
with black bear, whatever. That's a story.
Yeah.
But
Oh, they like bird feed as well. So there's a thing. So
right.
your bird feeder,
Right.
be careful because bears will come for them.
Yeah, it's like the weather for us. But so the Cullen Commission, not sure, I don't know if that's supposed to be common knowledge, but the Cullen Commission is investigating, and this is a federal story, but it's also a local story.
Okay.
And they're talking about money laundering problems.
Oh, yes, the money laundering.
Because basically provincial real estate legislation has gaps in it.
Okay.
And we already know about these gaps because we talked about them before, and that is for sale by owner and real estate developers who employ people directly to sell their houses for them.
Okay, and there's
They don't
regulations.
need to be real estate agents.
That's right. There's regulations that would regulate things that you can only do so much if you don't have a license or whatever, but you could sell your house on your own. So
There's advantages to not being licensed.
people like property guys and like companies have found a way to get around the real estate agent.
Exactly, yeah.
Or
the new
sell
one
it
is
yourself.
Unreserved. It's
Unreserved,
a company
yeah.
called Unreserved.
Look at this, all this
By the
free
way, not
advertising
a
for these
great
people.
name, by the way.
I don't think
Like as
so
a
either.
marketing guy,
No. I wouldn't
Not a
have,
big fan.
Yeah, I would have thought it had something to. Yeah, it just didn't go with real estate for me. But it is what it
Like
is.
Unreserved sounds like a podcast about residential school survivors.
For sure.
You know, I think there is a podcast called Unreserved
On CBC Radio.
on CBC.
I believe.
So
Yes.
anyway, to me, it's just not a very good name. But anyway, so there are holes in the legislation, which no one is surprised by. They did that on purpose. Let me just read this quote that the commission came out with. They said, as Ontario continues to struggle with housing affordability crisis, the Ontario Real Estate Association, that's OREA, is calling on policymakers to get criminal money laundering out of the real estate market so young families aren't competing with corrupt officials and drug dealers when looking for their dream home.
So corrupt officials and drug dealers are outbidding them from getting houses. Is
That's
what
the
they're
claim.
saying.
Yeah, it seems a little bit bombastic.
But what about that BlackRock company or whatever?
Well, we could talk about that too. But the unlicensed real estate consultants and for sale by owner companies who are currently operating outside of consumer protection oversight, hiding behind numbered companies to conceal criminal activities. So this is good to know because when I, as a licensed agent who is represented by OREA, they didn't consult me when they wrote this, by the way.
Oh,
But
interesting.
I'm just kidding. But OREA.
Surprised.
So when I write an offer for a client who owns a corporation, I have to report that corporation number with my documents to the federal government,
Okay.
FinTrack.
So that way the federal government knows exactly who's owning what.
Yeah, so basically I send them a form that says this corporation is buying this building. Even if they don't end up buying it, actually, I still have to file the paperwork. But I say this person belongs to this corporation, is trying to buy this building. And I've confirmed through identification and other things that it is indeed that person.
Yeah.
It's the person they say they are, and it's that corporation. So then the federal government has agents who look into these kind of things.
Okay.
I've never been contacted after I've submitted paperwork, but I assume, we have like an FBI or something who...
RCMP.
I don't know. It seems a little bit too technology intense for them, but maybe it is the RCMP. And they would look into money laundering, right? Like if there's some suspicious activity
Exactly.
going on. But when you do a for sale by owner or something like that, they just don't have that same.
They can't register.
Reporting.
They don't report. It's not as regulated.
I will
I can
say
just
this.
sell my house and I don't have to report that to somebody. Correct? If I just
Agreed.
sell my house. Just the bank knows or whoever. They
who's
could buy
gonna-
it in cash.
Who's going to fill it out?
That's right. What if they buy it in cash? It's just cash. Here you go. Here's 500,000 cash.
Yeah, in my
Give me your
opinion,
house.
it's not really OREA's place.
No.
Like, it should be the lawyers, probably.
Exactly. The lawyers to report that.
Like right now, if you sell a business, you don't need a real estate agent to sell a business. You just need a lawyer to kind of dot the I's, cross the T's.
Yeah.
And it should be the lawyer who's reporting these things. I'm not trying to obfuscate, but it doesn't seem like real estate agents real estate companies are really in the best position to do this. So if you're surprised by money laundering, and we already know British Columbia is, especially Vancouver, is famous for this.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say this is necessarily rampant, but
What I'm thinking is maybe they do need some overhaul with how the whole system works. It would make sense. Just have, like you said, maybe have the lawyers as part of their paperwork. Something just then goes to some
have you
the
heard about
RCMP
this?
or whatever.
Have you heard about this? I think it's a thing in Canada as well, but it was a big thing in Britain for a while. Famous people who didn't want their
on record
locations on record would buy things through offshore companies.
Okay. Yep.
That's like a very similar phenomenon. So I don't know. You have to fix the loopholes,
And again, should people be entitled to some privacy, as they would say in England?
Yeah, I think
little
that
bit of
there's a
privacy?
claim. I had an idea. Hear me out here. I had an idea with my brother-in-law, actually. We were talking about how we think land title should be fully transparent. And the way you could do that is through like a blockchain.
Okay.
So it'd have to be an independent blockchain.
Huh.
And that would be verified through proof of work.
Okay.
And basically the way it would work is just like the way cryptocurrencies work now, but it would work with land titles.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to find out who owns something, you would go to the blockchain and you'd say, oh, it was transferred on this date to that person.
Mm-hmm.
And it was never transferred away from them, so it must still belong to them.
Okay.
And there would be, I don't think the whole corporation thing is very smart unless it really is for the use of a corporation. Like, I don't think the
People should hide
mayor
behind
or
it.
something has a right to.
You make a corporation, but yet it's just for personal use anyways. So you're just kind of
It
getting
doesn't
a
seem
way,
right
way
to me.
around it. Yeah. No, it's true. That's
Like,
why
if you're doing it
corporations...
for personal use, I think there should be some kind of penalty there.
There's a great documentary on YouTube called The Corporation, not the new one. There's a new one which is not very good because it's very politically correct and it seems like they've kind of, But the original one back in early 2000s, really good. It explains the beginning of the corporation and where it came from. And
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
some of the future kind of possibilities or things you should be worried about possibly of where we're going with corporations, and that I think falls into it. But yeah, so we got a couple more things to cover, I think.
It's really a multifaceted problem,
is.
but I will say this. If someone tries to tell you that they think money laundering and drug dealers and things are outbidding everyone for houses, I'll just say that's not the reason housing prices are going up.
You can't. No, that's not a reason. That's not the reason. No, they're just using that, and it's probably always been the case.
No, this is
to
a
some
completely
extent. For
separate
sure.
issue. Like
Exactly.
these are two unrelated
They are.
topics, pretty much.
I'm sure it could contribute in some small way, but I know it's not a huge factor in it. Correct? Because drug dealers could have a lot of money, and it contributes just the same as a BlackRock or whatever coming in and outbidding people, and these drug dealers. So people money laundering for whatever reason.
The biggest drug dealer is the government. So
That's true.
Like, how do people get hooked on drugs? So they go to the hospital,
Yeah.
and then they, get addicted.
Okay, before we get too far, let's move on here.
Okay, we're gonna talk about healthcare.
Cool. Okay, we got about 6 minutes left, so we'll divvy it up.
And
Healthcare.
In case you haven't heard about this monkeypox
I'm sure we've heard of it.
thing, I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Listeners, watchers, I'm sure they've heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
So Sudbury Region's working with partners and the province to prepare for any possible monkeypox case.
Monkey case, okay. Case of the monkeys.
Monkeypox cases. I think we can, provide service for our listeners and watchers, what to look for, what monkeypox actually is.
Yeah.
And, we'll avoid the more meaty subjects, like where it came from. But basically, monkeypox is a viral disease, leads to rashes and lesions. Usually they start in the face. They can spread elsewhere on the body. Skin rashes, fever, chills, headaches, muscle aches, pain, and swollen lymph nodes.
Sounds fun.
Most why do I keep saying that?
monkey
Monkeypox cases are mild, but immunocompromised people could have some more severe symptoms.
Yeah.
Before you compare it to chickenpox,
And which, when you see pictures of
it's
it,
not too dissimilar.
that's what you can compare it to.
So Health Canada confirmed 168 cases of the disease in Canada. Majority were in Quebec.
Figures, eh?
I don't know why that is, but that is.
I think it's tied to maple syrup myself. There's a link.
Monkey case.
The monkeypox, maple syrup link. We'll start
So Quebec,
a rumor here. Started in Africa in 1970, Miles is saying.
well, maybe that's the connection with Quebec then.
Okay, yeah, because there's French colonies in Africa.
Well, we have French colonies here too, but it's the region of Africa we're talking about.
That it comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just so people know, Africa is not a monolith.
No, it's not.
That's why, So, Quebec confirmed they have 40,000 vaccine doses available to help slow the spread of the virus.
Mm-hmm.
See, this one really they don't go into this in more detail, but I'm really curious as to how they are distributing those.
Okay.
Because there's only 170 cases.
Mm-hmm.
So just distributing vaccines like to everyone
Yeah.
doesn't really make any sense.
But I think that's the way our health industry is going now. I think that they've decided that vaccines are the answer to anything. So
Maybe it's not, though.
But I think they've decided that. So Justin Trudeau said at the beginning of COVID, he said, until we get a vaccine,
This is not going away.
we're not going back to normal. So he decided that
It's like a predetermined thing.
yeah, that's the answer. Don't take vitamins. Don't get a lot of sleep. Don't get exercise. Don't eat well. Don't get a lot of sun. No. Take a vaccine, and that is the answer. So,
Even though those things were like correlated with better outcomes.
possibly, like, I don't know if you feel better when you sleep, or you eat well, or you take vitamins, or get exercise, or lose weight, or all these things that, you know.
Well, I was told early on that even healthy young people could die or get
Yeah.
seriously ill, which was true
Yeah, good. For
at
sure.
the beginning.
Yeah,
But over time, they became less true.
yeah.
And there's something about truth becoming less true.
I was just going to say, the fact that you said
You know?
less true is interesting, right? How could something
evolving
be less
situations are hard to explain at times. So monkeypox could become a serious thing, but at the moment, it's really not
true? Yeah.
in our current vicinity. She said Public Health Sudbury does not have any vaccine in their possession, but they could
And will.
if they need them.
Can I make a
Yeah.
prediction?
What's your
Today that Sudbury will get more than enough vaccines than we need for
Oh, okay. That
monkeypox
kind of
in the future.
yeah, that kind of prediction.
I know. Let's see. Do you want to put money on this? Do you want to say Sudbury will never get the monkeypox vaccine? here?
Gentleman's bet.
I know for sure we're going to have more than enough here than we need, because that's the direction that our health leaders and experts have chosen, that they are going to combat infectious diseases and health in general. It's just vaccines are the answer for our health, to be healthy, a healthy society. Makes sense, right?
I saw that they're developing a pill that has the same physiological effect as exercise. It's not done yet. That could be the answer you're talking about.
For sure.
It's not a vaccine, but it's like a pill that makes you healthier.
Yeah.
Anyways,
A pill that makes you healthier. Just hear
yeah,
what
it's
you
like an
just said.
exercise pill.
Exactly. You
That's
know,
kinda
you know
cool.
that pill that you took that gives you like abs?
Yeah,
You just take a
that's it,
pill
yeah.
and you get abs instantly?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that pill. Right? Remember
I don't
how
know.
that worked?
No, I never saw that.
Instant muscles. Just take this
Does
pill.
that exist?
I'm sure if it doesn't, we
It's
should,
called steroids.
because a lot of people we could probably make a bit of coin on that one.
So let's talk about how monkeypox is spread, because this is the one that gets me. There could be people that don't know this. They think that every disease is airborne, like COVID,
Yeah.
but it's not.
No.
Some diseases are much more contagious than others. Like, why do you think COVID became endemic?
'Cause it was-
Everywhere in the entire world,
Because it was airborne.
and Ebola was able to be contained
Because it wasn't.
relatively easily.
It wasn't
It's
airborne.
because diseases are transmitted differently. So some diseases aren't even communicable,
No.
right? Like some contagions are not transmissible between people.
Yeah. Exactly.
So this disease is mostly transmitted through physical contact, close physical contact, such as kissing or intimacy
Cool.
or sustained contact with physical surfaces,
Good to know.
same as the other person. So it's not
Different
going
disease.
to Walmart
That's right.
and, someone happens to breathe
Yeah,
10 feet away from you.
for sure.
Like, that's the way COVID was and is.
Yeah.
So
Different disease, different way of getting
completely
it.
different.
Get educated, I guess, and we'll do our
Do
best.
some more Googling.
We'll do our best to kind of give you the facts as far as we can, kind of glean them. So, unfortunately, our time is out now, though.
We're all out of time.
We're all out of time. Thanks for joining us today. I know there was a bit of a glitch with our internet, and so maybe there's a pause, or on air on CKLU, maybe there was a little bit of dead air here. Sorry about that. We do have Eastlink here, and so they're usually very reliable. And so thanks, Eastlink, for providing the internet that we were able to use here. Thanks to Facebook and YouTube for giving us the opportunity to stream. Thanks for CKLU giving us the opportunity to be on air live here in Sudbury. Thanks, Zach, for being here today. And thanks all of you for participating. We really look forward to your comments and getting them on air and having this community conversation. And we'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.